Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're talking about what might happen in episode 4, and honestly, this episode looks like it could become the emotional breaking point of the entire story. Up until now, in the first 3 episodes, the relationship between Urkin and Dyel has been built mostly on pride, misunderstandings, and feelings that both of them refuse to admit. Every time they get close to understanding each other, something gets in the way, either stubbornness, timing, or a new conflict. But episode 4 seems like the moment when that balance finally starts to break, and the characters may no longer be able to hide what they truly feel. One of the biggest pressures in this episode will clearly come from Urkin's family, especially his father. His father's authority and the expectation to do the right thing will push Urkin into a corner where he feels trapped between his heart and his responsibilities. If the topic of marriage with Buren becomes serious, Urkin may agree to it not because he truly loves her, but because he wants to satisfy his family and prove that he is responsible. On the surface, it might look like a logical decision, something a dutiful son would do. But emotionally, it will feel like a betrayal of his own feelings. And the most telling detail will be that even while making that decision, Urkin's eyes will constantly search for Dyel. That small detail would reveal the truth, that even if his words say one thing, his heart is somewhere else. For Dyel, this episode could mark a huge turning point. Hearing that the man she loves might marry someone else will feel devastating. It's the kind of news that shakes a person's confidence and makes them question their worth. At first, it may break her emotionally. We might see her cry, withdraw, and feel completely defeated. But sometimes heartbreak creates transformation. Instead of staying in that vulnerable state, Dyel might come back stronger. Rather than the quiet, emotionally guarded woman we saw before, we may start seeing a version of Dyel who carries herself with more confidence and strength. This transformation could be symbolized in a big scene, perhaps during a celebration, a party, or an entertainment night, where Dyel suddenly becomes the center of attention. When everyone notices her, including Urkin, it could become the moment that triggers something inside him. Scenes like that are often the moment where jealousy appears for the first time. When Urkin sees Dyel being admired by others, he may begin to feel something he hasn't allowed himself to feel before. Jealousy in romantic dramas is often the moment when a character finally realizes that their feelings are real. It's not necessarily a full confession yet, but it's the emotional turning point where denial stops working. Even a small moment, like a dance, a shared look, or a quiet conversation, could suddenly change the tone of their relationship. The two characters might find themselves closer than they intended, and even if no one says the word love, the audience will clearly feel that something has changed forever. Buren's role in this episode could also become much more important. If she begins to sense that Urkin's heart is not fully with her, that could create tension that grows into a bigger conflict later in the story. She might become someone who sincerely wants to win the man she loves, trying to prove herself and keep the relationship alive. Or she might take a more competitive approach, seeing Dyel as a rival and positioning herself against her. Either direction would add another layer of tension to the story and strengthen the love triangle that the series is building. As the emotional intensity increases in episode 4, it seems almost inevitable that the relationship between Urkin and Dyel will cross the line from simple friendship into something deeper. Even if they try to hide it, even if they try to stay distant, moments between them will begin to carry emotional weight. A short dance, an unexpected confession, or even just the way they look at each other could make it clear that their connection is no longer something they can easily ignore. The episode probably won't end with a clear declaration of love, but it will likely leave the audience with the feeling that there is no turning back anymore. Overall, episode 4 looks like it will deepen Urkin's internal conflict, accelerate Dyel's character development, and allow the side characters, especially Buren and the family, to interfere more strongly in the story. It will clarify the emotional lines between the characters and strengthen the love triangle that drives the drama. And if the show follows the classic structure of romantic dramas, the episode will likely end with a twist, maybe a big misunderstanding, or a sudden crisis, just when things seem like they might finally be improving. That kind of ending would leave viewers full of questions and anticipation, pushing them directly into episode 5 with even more curiosity about what will happen next. This heartbreak might actually be the thing that makes Dyel stronger. At first, we're probably going to see tears and disappointment, because she won't be able to understand how the man she loves could look like he gave up on her so easily. She's going to feel crushed, confused, and humiliated, and the audience will feel that pain with her. But after that first wave of sadness, there's a real chance she stops choosing to be the girl who cries and starts choosing to be the woman who stands tall. That's where her character growth truly begins. If the episode includes an entertainment night or a special invitation scene, we could see a moment where Dyel walks in and instantly pulls all the attention toward her. And that wouldn't be just a "she looks pretty" scene. It would feel like a psychological power move, a statement that she's not here to beg for love anymore. That could be the exact moment when Urkin finally feels what it means to lose her for real. Buren will likely play a more active role in this episode too. If she notices Urkin's distance and realizes his heart isn't fully present, she has two possible directions. She can respond with patience and understanding, which could actually earn her sympathy from viewers, or she can react with jealousy and turn it into open competition with Dyel. If the story chooses the second path, the love triangle becomes sharper and the pace of the drama speeds up fast. Even a small move from Buren, one comment, one decision, one push, could completely throw off the balance between Urkin and Dyel and turn quiet tension into open conflict. The most critical scene of episode 4 will probably be a moment where Urkin and Dyel end up alone together. It could be a dance, a heated argument, or an unexpected face-to-face confrontation, but whatever it is, that scene will bring them to a point where they can't deny their emotions anymore. There may not be a clear love confession yet, but the looks, the silence, the way they pause and struggle to speak will say everything. The audience will feel that the story has entered a no-return phase, where even if they try to act normal afterward, something has already changed between them. And then the episode will likely end with a new crisis right at the door. Either the marriage decision becomes official and locks Urkin into a path he doesn't emotionally want, or Urkin makes a last-second move that shocks everyone and flips the entire situation. Either way, episode 4 won't keep the story in a calm romantic drama lane anymore. It will push it into something more intense, more passionate, more painful, and more combative. From this point forward, nothing will feel the same, because the emotions are no longer hidden and the consequences are no longer avoidable. And before you go, if you're one of the people who loves Sevdiğim Sensin and you're hoping it never ends, let me know in the comments. Seriously, I want to see how many of you are writing for this series. Because episode 4 really does feel like the turning point that could change the fate of the story. In the first episodes, Urkin and Dyel's connection was held back by stubbornness, pride, and misunderstandings, but now it's going to be harder and harder for them to cover up what they feel. This episode will test hearts and test power dynamics. The biggest fracture for Urkin will likely be the confrontation with his father, because family pressure, reputation, and the expectation of the right woman will weigh heavily on him. Accepting the idea of marrying Buren won't necessarily mean he stopped loving Dyel. It may actually prove that he's trying to run from his feelings. He'll think he's being logical, but in reality, he'll be escaping his heart, and that will make him act colder and more distant than usual. If he seems harsh toward Dyel, it could be because he's trying to hide the storm growing inside him. For Dyel, this becomes a transformation story. Hearing about the marriage will tear her up inside, because it will feel like rejection and replacement all at once. We'll see her cry, we'll see her alone, we'll see her pride get triggered. But those tears won't last forever, because this is the moment where she either disappears emotionally or rises. And if the drama is built the classic way, the stronger option is that she rises, especially if there's a crowded event scene where her confidence becomes visible to everyone. Seeing a confident, steady Dyel will shake Urkin deeply, because it forces him to face his biggest fear, losing her. And if Urkin's eyes keep following her all night and Buren notices it, that's when the tension can explode into a true three-way conflict that drives the next episodes. Alright everyone, that's all for today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this analysis and you want more deep dives into your favorite series, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Series World, so you never miss the next update or episode analysis. Your support really helps the channel grow and keeps these discussions coming. And before you go, I want to ask you something. Do you think Urkin will eventually choose his heart and fight for Dyel, or will family pressure push him even further away from her? Let me know what you think in the comments below, because I'm really curious to see your predictions. See you all in the next video on Series World.